Good morning, boys and girls. It is Monday, April 6th, and this is your reading lesson. These vocabulary words I'm going to talk about right now are coming out of your small reading book, which you do not have, so don't worry. And here they are right here. Okay, say the word champion. Champion is a person who wins at something, wins a contest. Whenever we played Four Corners, we would have one champion, and that champion would get a pretzel in the classroom. So a champion is a winner. The next word is determined. Say determined. When you are determined, you decide to do something and you get it done. I'm very proud of all my students working so hard, very determined to get all of their work done. This little guy just determined right here. Say the word issues. Issues are important problems or topics that people are talking or arguing about. Issues. Say the word promises. Promises is when you say you'll do something and you follow through. So please promise me that you'll read every day. It's the best way to get ready for third grade. There's promises. Your next word is responsibility. Responsibility is when you have a duty to do something. I just told Rhett, you're responsible for cleaning your room, for getting all the wrappers out of your room, for making your bed and putting your clothes all in the right place. So responsibility. In my classroom, remember we always had the responsibility of picking up our desk area, of getting our homework done. So responsibility. Everyone say rights. These are things the law says that you can do or have. We talked a lot about this in social studies time. We talked about our rights. So going to school is one of our rights as a citizen. So we are very, very lucky. Some countries, kids don't have to go to school. They never learn how to read. They never learn how to do any kind of work independently, like learning how to do math or reading, and they have a very hard time. The next word is volunteered. Say volunteered. Volunteered is when you offer to do it, just with you don't want any money, you don't want anything. Volunteered. I always had awesome volunteers in my classroom for putting papers in the mailboxes or for cleaning up around the desks. Then the last word is votes. Say votes. Votes is when you choose. Remember we would say, do you want to play Four Corners or do you want to play Heads Up, 7 Up? Let's get your vote. And I would have you raise your hand and I would get your votes. So these are your words again. Champion, determined, issues, promises, responsibility, rights, volunteered, and votes. Okay. All right, so we're going to read a story today, and we're going to talk about something I have not taught yet, and that is called point of view. A point of view, boys and girls, is how you feel about a situation. So let's say, like in my classroom, let's say that... let's say Amari dropped a pencil and I went over and I picked it up and I said, it's mine, it's mine, it's mine. And Amari's point of view is, no, it's not. It's my pencil. It just fell on the ground. It's mine. It belongs to me. And then my point of view is, nope, finders keepers, losers weepers. It's my pencil. I'm going to take it home. So point of view is how you view a situation. So characters always have different points of view in a story. When we talk about point of view, I want to read what it says in my book. Many stories are told from the point of view of one of the characters. The character's point of view is how the character sees things and what the character thinks about the events in a story. When you see the words I, my, me, mine, they show the character is telling the story from his or her point of view. When we see the people talking, we see dialogue. That's how we can tell what their point of view is. And then usually when you read stories, characters will have different points of view because that's how you get, have problems in a story. That's how they have, to work out problems. Like I was just turning to an old story, Finding Cal. And this, remember the little boy wanted a dog, and the dad's point of view is, well, if you can be responsible and get work done, and the kid, Jake's point of view, the boy was like, I'll do everything, I'll clean up, So Jake finally proved himself, and then his dad said, you know what, I agree, you're ready for a dog. So a point of view is how you feel about something. So this story today, we're going to talk about the point of view when we're done, is called A Difficult Decision. So I'll give you a second to look at it. It is realistic fiction, so it's a story that's made up, but it can happen. I see two characters. I see this is like at a park or maybe a backyard. It looks like a nice sunny day. And then our essential question is, what do good citizens do? Read about a boy who chooses to be a good citizen. Remember in social studies, we talked about citizens. Those are people that live in a community. That big poster on the wall by the computers, remember we made the city of Lima? We have all those different buildings. And then we put up all of our pictures because we are citizens of Lima. All right. My best friend Paul and I were excited to go to the park after school. The park had a new fort. The Parks Department let the kids choose what kind of equipment to build, and the fort got the most votes. After school, Mom and I met Paul and his dad at the park. Okay, so I know the setting is the park, and this little boy went to the park with Paul. Paul and I raced to the top of the tower. I win! I'm the champion! I shouted. Look, Paul! Someone left the newest game master here. It's mine now. So this little boy ran up. I'm not sure which one yet. One ran up, and he found a game sitting at the top of the fort. And he's like, oh, it's mine. Paul raised his eyebrows and looked thoughtfully. Wyatt, you cannot keep that game master, he said. You have a responsibility to return it. It's your duty. Oh, there's the game master right there. So the one boy is saying to the other one, you have got to return it. I asked, haven't you ever heard the saying, finders, keepers, losers, weepers? I have rights. I found it, so I'm claiming it. Uh-oh. So we have two different points of view. We have Paul, and Paul said, look, Paul, someone left. So Paul says you have to return it. And then the other little boy, his name is Wyatt, said, no. Wyatt says, Wyatt, I'm sorry, Paul. Wyatt, you cannot keep the game. Wyatt wants to keep the game master, and Paul says you have to return it. Okay, next page. Let's see how this story. So now we have the problem in the story. One wants to keep it, one wants to return it. There's the picture. So this must be Wyatt. No, I'm not sure yet. Let's see. You can do whatever you want, Wyatt, but you know it's wrong to keep it, Paul said. Then he added, whenever there are issues like this at school, you're the one who helps solve the problems. Now you aren't taking your own advice. Then Paul asked, I volunteered my thoughts. If you don't want to take the help I offered, there's nothing I can do. Paul was right. I couldn't keep the game because it wasn't mine. The person who lost it would be upset. I cleared my throat and said in my best deep voice, I've determined that you're right. I'm delighted that you decided to do the right thing, said Paul. So good. So Wyatt changed his mind. Well, here it is on the last page. We told my mother what happened. She walked around the park with us so we could try to find the owner of the game. And soon we saw a boy and his mom looking for something. He looked hopeless, and he burst into tears when we asked him if the game was his. Yes, he wailed. I lost my game master a little while ago. I should have been more careful. Afterward, Mom and I walked home. I was glad I returned the toy to the boy, so I made a promise to myself to always do the right thing. Now that is a vow I can keep. Okay, so we have two different points of view from the beginning of the story. And I want to look for clues. So the first, we have Wyatt. Wyatt says, hey, Rhett, come here, please. Wyatt says, It's mine now. This is after he found the game master. Can you get me a Sharpie? It's on the floor under the thing. Get me a couple of them. Not a Sharpie, a dry erase marker. It's underneath the table. So Wyatt says, it's mine now. That was at the very beginning. And then his point of view is Wyatt thinks that he should keep the game that he found. And that's like the example I said with, thanks, honey. That's like, you want to say hi to my class? Here's Rhett.
Hi, guys. I know you guys actually watch this. I'm just kidding.
They watch it. That was Rhett. Okay, so Wyatt said, the text evidence says, it's mine now, and his point of view is he thinks he should keep the game that he found. Well, Paul says, Wyatt, you can't keep the game master. You have to return it. So that was from the story. So what do you think what do you think Paul's point of view is? Yeah, I totally agree. Paul thinks people should return found items. Yeah, absolutely. So at the beginning of the story, we had two different points of view. Wyatt thought he could keep the game because he found it, and Paul said, no, you have to do the right thing. So his point of view is you have to return it. Well, I'm proud of Wyatt in this story because after he thinks about it, he changes his point of view. And he says, you know what? I've determined that you're right. So he changes his point of view. So now he thinks you're right. I need to give the game back. And he's going to do the right thing. And then, of course, we're so glad that he did because once the little boy got his game back, he stopped crying because now he feels better. So point of view is how a character feels about something, how the character views something. And you can always tell when the character is talking when they say I or me or my. So point of view. All right, so there's no assignments today in reading. Although I would love it if you would think about a story you've read before and think about if you can determine the different characters' point of view. Okay? All right, I'll see you tomorrow.